We have 12 plagues in our deck and only 3 real cards, and we somehow top deck Summer Child here instead, and he concedes. What an incredible win here. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Road to Legend here. We're into the first game up against the Death Knight here. And I'm sure as you guys just saw, it was an incredible finish to this game here. We got incredibly lucky, but the entire game was amazing. So be sure to stick out and watch the whole thing. So up here, starting off with the mulligan here, we're probably going to get rid of the Doomkin and the Drake here. Probably want to find some cheaper cards and some more ramp. We're going to keep the Whelp here, hoping to get another dragon, ideally 1 mana dragon maybe. We don't quite hit it. Do we get the other Doomkin back in our hand here? So I mean, not a big deal. We're gonna be passing turn 1 anyway. Obviously, we're not gonna play the spell here because whatever card you get from that is temporary. So if we don't play it on that turn, we get it. It's gonna be going to waste here. We draw the Yogg here. Yogg's a great card, but like a little too early to be drawing the Yogg here. But it's okay. We're still hoping to top deck a dragon, so we can at the very least have a proper turn 3 here where we can play our dragon and actually start to ramp up here and get some more mana. Otherwise, we're just probably gonna end up hitting button here if we don't draw a dragon, because we don't want to lose out on that value. And yeah, we don't draw any dragons here, so we decide to go for the spell here, and we go for wild growth because yeah, it's better than just hitting the button there. At least with that play, we get to ramp and start to get a bit of a mana advantage. Cause yeah, it was a little. If we just hero power there, it would have been a bit rough here. So we're just hoping to build an advantage, and we could top deck Summer Child here, and play it for 5 minutes, so that would be great. If not, then we really hope to get a dragon, play the 3 mana guy here, and then hero power. That could be a play too. And there we go. We do finally top deck a dragon here. So we are gonna go for the Whelp here. Put some tempo on board with the 3/2. Hit the hero power. Probably just gonna go face here. No, that two trading into that 2/2 isn't gonna do anything for us here. So we'll just take the damage face for now. And yeah, that dragon pickup was incredible for us because we managed to get another mana here. We managed to ramp more, and now we can play Doomkin on turn 7. If we hadn't gotten that dragon there, we would have had a very rough turn next turn here. But now that we have 7, now that we're gonna have 7 mana here, it's an easy play with the Doomkin. He loses a card. He loses a mana, I mean, and we gain 1 here. And we draw the second Doomkin, so I decided to play the one that I top decked just to be like, hey, look, we just top decked the perfect card. Even though in reality, we already had one in our hand here. So we're quickly approaching that 10 mana mark here. So we're hoping to get like one of the New Heights card here, so we can actually continue to ramp past 10 mana here. Because this deck really shines when we got like 13, 16 mana once we play those 2 cards here. So we don't get it just yet, which is fine. We do get the 4 mana dragon, which is very nice here because it basically allows us to play it for free here. And right now I'm debating if I go for the Doomkin play, but I think I'm not gonna go for it just because like if I play Doomkin, I'm gonna steal a mana. I go to 10 mana. The only benefit there is good for me at least would be the stealing of the mana from him, because I can't go past 10, and next turn I'm gonna be going to 10 mana anyway. So I decided against the Doomkin play. This kind of sucks. It kind of sucks, and it kind of works out in its own way. So because the dragon drew us a spell, it drew us the plague. So we got the plague, and we got to just draw in naturally from our deck here because it was cast and drawn. So instead of drawing a spell, we drew a minion. So I mean, not too bad. We got some value out of the 2/6 guy here. So we have a bunch of two 1/1 dragons here that we can play and get some buffs here. So he clears a good bit of my board here, but the biggest thing I was hoping to stick was that 4 mana card and that legendary, and he sticks on board here. We get another copy of the Drake here. And things are looking okay for us so far. We are down to 20 HP here. He's still at full HP. It's not looking too great because for us here, what we're primarily hoping for is some New Heights. So I think we're probably gonna go. We go for the Titan here. Watching this back, maybe the Titan isn't necessarily the best play. Maybe going for the 7 mana, but honestly, it's fine because we can still go for the 7 mana play here anyway. And we're just gonna play that 1/1 just so we can clear up some space in our hand here. We're gonna play the second one here just so we can get some more space and we can go for more draw here. So now that we're down to just 4 cards, we can draw 6 cards and be back up to 10 mana. And this was insane for us here. The fact that we top decked the Trog here and we're gonna be able to pull off that finale with just 1 mana was really good for us here. So because I got a lot of minions that ended up duplicating, I kind of ended up going for mana here instead of drawing any more, because there was a good chance if we drew more cards that we were gonna burn something. And so rather than take that chance, I decided to just get some armor here, armor up. We're up to 26 HP now, and play the Trog here and get insane value out of it. So this sucks a bit because it clears the majority of our board. But so far the Titan is still on board here, and as long as she sticks, that's good for us here. We're going to be able to heal ourselves fully, get even more value out of it. So you know what, maybe playing that Titan last turn wasn't a mistake. So now that the fact that it's stuck on the board here is quite good for us here. So we are getting a bit unlucky drawing the Plagues there, even though there's a ton of other cards in our deck here. But that's alright here because we're just going to heal to full anyway. I think for us, we're probably trying to get the fire play here. Probably want to get the finale off. That's why we're kind of trying to set up for that 5 mana play here. So that's why we play the 1 mana dragon, even though I wasn't necessarily too keen on drawing cards, but I just wanted to get the finale. And this way I can get some of the expensive cards, Ziliax, Fi, Marin, any of those nice cards here. So instead of going for the 5 mana play, we are actually just... I'm surprised I decided to go for this line here with the dragons instead. And to be honest, I think the 5 play at 5 mana would have been better. But I think, looking at this, I think we just wanted to get more value out of the Trog. Just because I felt like by playing the Trog, we can get so much pressure. He's down to 14 HP now. And we have this massive board that he has to deal with. Otherwise, he's going to die. So I think that's kind of why I ended up going for this line. But I think maybe just going for the Summer Child would have been better because exactly what you just saw there. He was able to pretty much clear the majority of our board here. Everything's gone except the 3/2 dragon here. So having gone for the Summer Child, getting the finale, drawing some cards might have just been a little bit better for us here. And we are getting a bit unlucky here because we haven't drawn any of the new heights just yet here. And I played the dragon to go for it, and we get lucky there because we top deck. We do have a lot of spells in our deck. Unfortunately, the curses count as spells too for us. But we do get a bit lucky there, and we do get the new heights, so we can finally start to ramp up here. So at this stage, I'm considering like what plays I can make. I really want to get the finale off the Summer Child here, but it doesn't look like that's in the cards. So I decided to just draw 2 dragons, and then I can play the Whelp here to get a mana crystal. And we're probably going to drop Fi here just to clear his 4/3 and get some board presence. So yeah, we trade into the 2/2, and now we have Fi on the board here. So we have a decent board, mainly Fi. She's hard to deal with at 11 HP here, but he has the Chain Guardian here, which sucks for us here, but we do get very lucky in the fact that our Fi is actually buffed, and it got buffed from the 3 mana spell here, so we do get lucky there that when he trades into it with the 8/1, he actually dies. So a bit of luck there on our side here, but yeah, that 8/1 card here is a bit rough. So it's a bit weird. He decides to not attack again. I'm pretty sure he could attack again with the Rush guy now that he's reborn. I could be mistaken, but doesn't look like he goes for that play here. He probably didn't. He probably just wanted to save it. He wanted to like see if he can get it to stick, and then we somehow don't have an answer for it. Which honestly, I mean, worst case we would have hero powered it, but luckily it didn't have to come to that because we have the swipe here that deals exactly 1 damage to it, and we get to clear that. We steal one of his mana crystals. We're up to 15. Now we're at the point that we like with this ramp Druid deck. We have a ton of mana, and our opponent is still at just only 8 mana here. So we like what we see here, but it's not looking too great for us just because he's continuing to build all these plagues in our deck as that usually does here, and they do have like decent abilities to heal. So he's still in this game for sure here, but I'd say right now we're in a pretty commanding spot here. But let's see how he finishes off this turn here. So nothing too crazy being done so far. Trading the snake oil, getting the finale off. That sucks because it clears my guy here, but he doesn't have like a threatening board or anything like that, so I'm okay with this. We top deck the Ziliax after that plague there, so I'm quite okay with this. At this stage, there's not a lot of expensive cards left in my deck, so I decided to just go for the 1 mana fight here to draw both of them. And I think what I want to do here is probably just go for the Marin play, get some more cards in my deck that aren't curses, and probably go for the Discover Legendaries here, because then I can put a ton of pressure on the board at this stage and potentially just win the game off the next turn here if he doesn't have an answer, depending on what we get here. So we don't get anything too crazy here. We don't get any battle cries or any just overpowered legendaries, but the Eternal Dragon is solid because it's gonna put 16 worth of stats on board here, so we're not gonna complain about that here. I probably just gonna play the Martin here because it's not gonna draw anything anyway. We don't have anything in our deck that's above 6 mana, so it's just putting pressure on board here, so that's why we ended up playing it there. And at this stage, he needs to find an answer to this board here, otherwise we're gonna kill him here. And he has another Chain Guardian there, so that a bit unfortunate for us here because he gets to clear the 8/8s, and he has another one. I'm not quite sure where he generated the third one from. Wasn't really paying attention here, but it was a bit of a rough blow for us here because that board, it looked like we were kind of just setting up to win the game with that board here, but he manages to clear it. But it's also, even though it sucks he managed to clear that, it's still good for us in the sense that he used a lot of his removal. So now we know that, okay, we can be a bit more liberal with making like these big boards here. So Ziliax is probably going to come down at this point. But we'll probably play the dragon here. Yeah, probably we'll end up playing the dragon. It doesn't look like I ended up going for that. We ended up going for the 8/8 and the Ziliax here, which I guess makes sense. The reason I was thinking about playing the dragon there was just to get the free value, because we don't have any other dragons in our deck here, so if I didn't get the value there, we're not going to be able to get it later. But I think at this stage, because we're so far ahead on mana, I decided that we don't need to do that. And I also didn't want to overcommit on the board here. I didn't want to kind of play every card I have here. I'd rather kind of save it. And one of the main reasons I want to save it is to play it with the 3 mana legendary that we have on the right side here. Because then I can just turn that 4 mana guy into a different legendary, and that can be an answer for us later on if we need it. So looks like he's playing some more plagues here. Nothing too crazy, but he is dealing with our board here while getting more plagues in our deck here. And at this point, this is where things is getting a bit shaky for us here, because at this stage we have more plagues in our deck than cards here, and we're going to be continuing to get more of it in our deck here. So fortunately for us a bit, at least one of the Ziliaxes survive. And at this stage, I honestly didn't really have any good plays to go for. I'm not gonna play the 3 mana guy up until I play Yogg. Yogg is not a card I would ever want to replace unless there's no other option. So I'm probably gonna go for the 7 mana guy here, because like I kind of feel like I want to spend my mana. And one of the things that I want to get is potentially Trog into a finale to do a ton of damage. But I can also just play the 7 mana and just go for a ton of armor, just so I can have more HP kind of to get through all these plagues that he's putting in our deck here. And that's exactly what we're doing. As you see, we're just gaining armor, and we just gain 15 armor here, and we don't end up drawing anything. So I do play the dragon here. You see, we don't really care all that much about the mana, because we're not at this stage, we're not even able to finish the mana we have. I was really considering drawing some cards, because as you see there, we're at 3 mana. If I had a Trog in my hand, I could have got a finale off. But I ended up deciding that it's not worth it to draw 2 cards here, because the amount of plagues that we could potentially draw. And we could have drawn the plagues that changed the cost of mana, and then the finale might have been hard to pull off. So that's kind of why we didn't go for that play there. We decided to just go for the safer option. So this is the stage where things are getting a bit more dicey for us here, because like it doesn't have a board that's all that threatening right now, but we don't have any answers right now. Like we don't have anything that we can really do right now. So I decided at this stage I decided to just play my Yagam, cause like want to get the value out of it. I don't want to hold it for too long. And when it comes time to me playing the 4 mana guy, uh I don't want to transform the Yogg when I play that legendary minion. So I'm probably just gonna play Yogg here. Oh, looks like I'm actually not. I think I'm skipping slightly ahead here. So we ended up just honestly taking like a very very slow turn here. We play the swipe and we trade into the 3/3 guy. And we decide to hold the Yogg because like you want to get more value out of your cards. That's one of the biggest things with this deck is like you need to get value, as much value as possible, so you can actually kind of like win the game. So this is at this point, now that he has this big board here and all this pressure on me, now I can go for the Yogg. If I had gone for the Yogg last turn, I wouldn't have had an answer for this per se. I could have stolen a minion, a few plays I could have made, but I just wouldn't have had an answer here. So we do get unlucky hitting the Frost Plague. We do get a couple of them, but we get 3 actually, but 4. Okay, do we get any more? No, just 4 here. But luckily for us is the fact that it can't make a card go cost more than 10 here. So pretty much, like, even though we drew 4 there, Yogg is only gonna cost us 1 mana more than what it would have normally here. So we're still in a very okay spot here, and we have a ton of mana. One of the things I was considering is potentially going for tentacles here, because if I do go for the tentacle play, then I can just play the 3 mana guy here and basically have a bunch of legendaries in my hand that I can choose from, and hopefully we get a bit of RNG on our side and then have some good options. But I decided to clear the board because the amount of plagues that we have, and we get super lucky here. We get a divine shield on the Yogg, so it increases the chances of it sticking on the board by just that much more here. We do get the 1 mana to draw a card here, but I don't I don't want to draw with the amount of plagues in my deck at this stage. Drawing doesn't seem all that good of an idea, so I'm probably just gonna hero power and go face. And you see that we're looking at the deck tracker. We see that we got 12 plagues in the deck here, so we don't really wanna mess around with drawing too many cards at this stage. So let's see if he's going to be able to clear our Yogg here. So first he hero powers to get rid of the divine shield. So a bit of value there here for us here. And yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to clear. He's going to get this back in his hand. He can play it twice. So Yogg no longer on the board here, which sucks for us. But we're still... I wouldn't say we're at this stage, even though we have more HP, even though he doesn't have any board. He just summons these 1/1s. I'd say we're in a losing position right now, just because of the amount of plagues in our deck here. Like, if we get unlucky, we can... And he also gets some minions summoned on his side. If we get unlucky, we could get to the point where we just straight up die here out of the plagues. But fortunately, we only draw 2 or 3 there. And now we can kind of focus on the play that we want to make here. So at this stage, I'm debating a couple things. I'm debating playing the Chalice here and praying that if I do play the Chalice, I don't top deck a Plague. But it just feels way too risky here. Because if I can play the Chalice, get a bunch of cards, and then get a bunch of legendaries. But to be honest, I felt like if there's a high probability of me losing if I go for that play here. We don't get the best legendaries, but we do get 2 very good ones here. We get the finale guy who starts rock duel, so you gotta fully spend your mana to not take damage. Otherwise, you're gonna take 8 damage, and it keeps increasing. So at this stage, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, if I don't win by the next turn, odds are we're not gonna win this game at all. So that's kind of why I decided to go for the finale, go for the rock duel here, because we definitely won't be able to spend all our mana next turn, because if we had all the cards in our deck in hand, we still wouldn't be able to spend all our mana here. So I knew that we either win on the next turn or lose on the next turn. That's why I ended up committing so much here. So we do get very lucky with the legendary in the middle. When it dies, it's gonna summon all the minions that didn't start in our deck, and there's actually been a bunch of those guys that didn't start in our deck here. So this part kind of sucks for us here because he gets the heal for like 9 HP there. So it makes it that much harder for us to be able to kill him here. So he kills our 5-1 guy here, and you see we get such a wide board here. And he played that very well because he could have traded into the 5-2 first, but he did the ordering correctly there. So as you see there, he was actually able to fully spend his mana, all 10 mana here, and he actually managed to kind of avoid dying for this turn. But we get very this is kind of the point that you saw at the start here. We have so many plagues in our deck, 12 plagues, and we somehow managed to avoid all of them here. And we had exactly 21 damage on board here. We also had with the hero power. So honestly, an insane game, an incredible win to finish it off. And it just felt so satisfying kind of beating that plague death knight there. So what an incredible game to start. You know, I don't know how it's going to get better from here, but it definitely can. So for the next game, you see here we're queuing up against this Druid here. For the mulligan, we don't want to keep any one of these cards here. We're gonna get rid of everything, and we're just gonna hope for some cheaper cards, some ramp cards that we can use for later on here. So let's see what we get. So okay, we get 2 dragons and Marin. Not the best starting hand, but a great top deck here in the 1 mana dragon here. Because we already have 2 dragons in our hand, we can play it, get the combo off, and it hits the Drake guy, the Chia Drake dragon in our hand for the buff. So we're looking good here. It's honestly, we got very lucky there, top decking the 1 mana guy. We don't have anything for turn 2, so we're just gonna hero power and push the damage phase here. So for us here, we're ideally hoping to get the Whelp for turn 3. Whelp or New Heights. Whelp is probably a bit better just this early into the game because it also puts pressure on the board. He actually is also playing ramp, surprise, surprise. And we get the perfect top deck once again here. It's some Yu-Gi-Oh sorcery going on right now. We believed in the heart of the cards and we got the Whelp. So we're in a very good spot here because now we're up to 4 mana. And next turn we're probably going to go for like depending on what we top deck. But we're probably going to go for the 4 mana dragon here, refresh our mana crystals, and then go for the other dragon. So he goes for wild growth. He's going full ramp here, and he's just trying to get as much mana as he can. We top deck the swipe here, and it's going to change our play slightly because it's going to allow me to put a lot of pressure on him. So we're going to go for drawing a spell here, and let's see what we get. We get the Innervate, which is quite good here because we could then Innervate Hero Power. And looks like that's the play we're going to go for here. I think a better play might have just been going for the swipe. Immediately playing the 4 mana dragon, going for the swipe, Hero Power, and push an extra 3 damage face just to get all that tempo. Because like I said earlier, like we very much struggle against aggro decks here. So if we can kind of aggro this Druid, we know we're going to be in a good spot here, and we know we have the plays for late game anyway. So I think maybe the swipe there could have been a better play, but we're still in a very good spot here. Still a very okay. He decides to draw 2 cards and gain 10 armor here, so does slow us down a bit here. He's pretty much back to full HP. He goes for the swipe here to kill our dragon, which is okay because the other 2 are still on the board. They do manage to survive. So we're just going to go for the 4 mana guy here. Probably going to draw another spell here. We don't really need the spell damage for now. And we have the miniature guys. We somehow get Innervate again out of all the spells in our deck here, but it's okay. For next turn, it's going to be a good turn for us regardless because we can either go for the Doomkin play or we can go for the Marin play. But we honestly need to top deck a New Heights, or we need to get to win this game as quickly as possible because he has already played New Heights. So we don't want him to be able to get a mana advantage on us, like, because that's the whole purpose of our deck as well. So if he's executing our strategy better, it's going to be very rough for us later on. So he's taking up for turn 7 here. He plays the Spiral Drake here, clears our guy, and interesting choice going for that guy, but because he was already weak, but I do understand why. He just wanted to get rid of the most damage, and he goes for the Finale on the Trog here, which works out quite well for him. but not as good as he probably would have hoped because our 2/2 dragon is still there. So we're just gonna go for the easy Doomkin play, and we're gonna trade into the 3/2. I decided to go for Doomkin just because obviously we get to steal a mana crystal, we get to get one of our own, and it also trades very nicely against that 5/4. Having that 4/5 there, we can just trade and clear that. So he goes for ETC, and I'm not sure what he has in there because I haven't really played against his deck before. He's kind of playing a weird variation of like Dragon, Ramp, Druid. He's kind of like mixing the two together. But overall, a fairly slow turn from him. And we finally top deck that new heights here, so that's incredible for us here. So probably just gonna play that new heights and then innervate the Marn. That seems like the best option. Or we could also just go for the new heights, and we could potentially just draw dragons with the 3 mana play here. Because there's not a lot of pressure on the board here, so it's kind of a toss up between which play is better. I think we'd rather save the innervate and potentially use it for later, but we do top deck fire and the 4 mana guy here. So now we find ourselves in a position where we actually can play both and get a lot of value. We can play the 4 mana dragon, we can play fire, and we can even play one of these small Drake guys and draw even more cards here. So I think it ended up being the right play going for this and holding off on the Martin. Because either way, next turn we can play Martin and we're going to have enough mana to play whatever card we end up choosing from him. So I think going for that dragon draw play ended up working out for us and being a much better play here. So he pretty much has a slow turn. He pretty much does nothing with the 11 mana here, and that's pretty much what's gonna cost him the game later on. I don't remember what that card did. I don't know what it does, but pretty much, but nothing for us to worry about at this stage. So now we have so much tempo, so much pressure. We're gonna get even more minions on the board here. We don't get the best luck here with the legendaries that we get. Nothing here is really all that good. Like we could potentially go for the 4 mana guy to replace our hero power, but we ended up deciding to go for the choose one girl instead here, just because it puts more pressure here. And I played the 1 mana guy to draw some more spells here, and getting Wondrous Wand is an insane pickup there. Probably the best thing we could have gotten there. And because we still have a lot of heavy cards in our deck. So he gets to steal this hurt a bit. He got to steal one of our minions here, and he was able to take the Fi here. So that kind of hurt there because he's getting the benefit of that life steal as well here. But we're still okay here because we have so many. We got a couple swipes in our hand here, so we can clear this board without actually having to trade into it here. I think what we're probably gonna do here is go for the 7 mana play here to draw some cards because we can potentially draw the Drake and we can potentially get some spell damage here, but I think we've already drawn both of them. So I think instead of that, we're just gonna go for the 3 mana guy here. And now at this stage, I started to think about once we got the 3 mana guy here, the Trog I mean. Now I'm kind of trying to see if I can potentially find a way to get the finale off, because that would be a ton of damage here. So that's why I ended up drawing more cards here. And our hand is pretty much full at this stage. We don't want to draw too much, so probably just gonna go for some armor. Probably not gonna refresh the mana crystal. No, it's not because no, we're gonna refresh the mana crystals because then once we go back to 12, we can actually now get the finale off. And the insane thing about the Ziliax is because it has Divine Shield, he doesn't get the benefit of that healing here. So we get to do all this, and we get to play the swipe to his face, and we get to deal an extra 11 damage with the Trog to kill him here. So an incredible win for us here. It was honestly a great game. We had tempo from the start. We had good ramp here and ended up getting the win here up to silver 3. So a very fun game here. And now for our last game, we're going up against the Shaman here. And yeah, let's see if we can end off on another win here. Some 2 very good games so far for us here. So to start here, we do get a lot of dragons at the start. And I always debate how many dragons I want to keep, like how much tempo I want to play. And I decided to just get rid of the whole hand here. The Whelp is the only card where I was like, maybe I should have kept it. But I decided to mulligan it anyway. And we do get both new heights here. And that is very insane. New heights is probably our best card here. But having both this early on, we don't really need it. But we're not gonna complain. The only thing that makes having both new heights a little bit unfortunate this early on is just the fact that we're going up against the Shaman here, because he's probably gonna be having a lot of tempo and putting a lot of pressure early on, and just playing this slow can really come back to hurt us here. That's why I decided to go for the one mana dragon here right off the bat without getting any value, just so I can put some pressure in it. At the very least, I was able to push 2 damage phase, and now he has to at least trade one of those guys into it. And it will reduce some of the pressure on that board for me. So we play the first dragon here, and this is where things were starting to get a bit scary for me. Because that legendary could have spelled serious trouble for us here. But we top decked the swipe here, and I'm kind of just debating. I'm like, do I just let him get more value and I play the Drake, or do I just kind of kill that card as soon as possible and not let him get any more value? And you see me there debating. I ended up just going for it, because I felt like if I didn't have an answer to that card, things can start to spiral very badly for us. Because yeah, if he just puts that much early pressure on, he can probably just kill us before we can even get started here with this deck. So now that we've dealt with that, we're in a much better spot here. Next turn we can go for the 5 mana Summer Child here, draw some cards, get a finale off. So now we feel like we kind of stabilized the board here. We're only at 26 HP, so we're still quite good here. We get the 5 and get a discount on it, so that works out well for us here. 5 is a great card to have, especially when someone's being as aggressive as the Shaman, because we're going to be able to get some lifesteal and heal back some HP from that card. So yeah, let's see what he does for turn 5 here. So he goes for the Murloc here, so that tells me that in turn 8 he's probably going to play the other Murloc that he just got from that guy. But we're still not too worried about it. We're still in an okay spot here. He does buff a few cards here, but nothing too crazy. He's pushing the damage phase, which is smart. He's playing like kind of more of an aggro deck, so it makes sense that he's pushing the damage phase here. I decided to take this turn a bit slow, and I'm just gonna go for Marin here, and I think I'm gonna go for the crown. So next turn we can potentially play that, but odds are next turn we're gonna play Fi as 7 mana. That's why I decided to go for Marin. I was like, even if he pushes more, I wanted him to push more damage to my face, because then I would be able to get even more value out of the healing here. So this is the part where I started to sweat a bit, because once he played that Wind Horn, it made the 5 play so much worse. Because if I go for the 5 play now, he's just going to attack into it, and it's going to go from like a 4-11 or whatever stats it has to a 3-3. So that was going to suck for us here. So I didn't want to do that. So I think instead of Fly, I'm probably just going to go for the Ziliax play here, because at the very least I'm going to have 2 of them on board. I'm going to be able to heal for more HP than I would have if I had just played the Fi. I would have just healed for 4 mana. So I think just the Innervate into Ziliax it's probably the best play given the state of the board and our HP at this point. And I'm just debating kind of like, if I go for 5, if I go for this, I'm just doing all the math in my head. If he's going to trade into this and so on and so forth. So I was like, okay, now just Innervate, play the Ziliax, heal up, and make him use both kind of swings of that weapon here, hopefully. That way, then next turn, I can maybe go for the 5. And once I go for 5 next turn, he's not going to have an easy way to deal with it. So now that we're back up to 26 HP, we are feeling a bit safer. But once he plays the Tided, I didn't feel as safe anymore here, because now he can start to clear a bit here. So he can clear one of them with dealing 20 damage with one of the abilities, and then he can just trade with the Wind Fury weapon here. So let's see if he ends up going for that play. That's the line I would go for, and I think that's the line he ends up going for as well here. So he's just debating his options, but yeah, he goes for that. He kills one of our guys there, and then he trades with the weapon. So this line works very well for him. It works a lot better than I think he even realizes, just because the fact that he saved the swing was massive. But then for some reason he attacks face, and I the only thing I was worried about was like, oh, he has that weapon. What am I gonna do? That's the only thing I was worried about. And he swings face, so now I'm feeling a lot more confident. I'm like, okay, I could just go for the 5 play. But at this stage, I wasn't really feeling too great, just because even though I can play 5, she only has 4 attack. I can't clear his Titan. I'm looking at the state of the board, and I have no way of dealing with his board right now. So we get lucky there, and we were able to get Ragnaros there, the Fire Lord. So we're hoping for a bit of RNG here, but we're gonna make our odds a bit better by going for the swipe play here, because we're gonna can kill the 4 mana guy and kill 2 of the 1/1s here. So our odds got a bit better here to hopefully hit the Titan, but we first one goes face and second one unfortunately hits the totem there, going for the 0/1 here. So we did get very lucky getting Ragnaros, but we did get very unlucky in the fact that we didn't get to clear the Titan. But now that you see here, he did have a second weapon in hand, so it makes sense why he decided to push the damage phase here. So at this stage here, he healed for 6, which is smart. He has his guy back to full HP. And he's at 12 HP, and now he has the weapon again. And to be honest, that weapon is a bit of a menace here. We have a lot of very big minions that we like to play in our deck here, and that weapon kind of neutralizes that entire playstyle. So I'm just going to go for the free dragon here. It costs me nothing. It's going to discount 5, so we're probably just going to play it and free up some space in our hand. I think at this stage, what we're hoping for is to go for the Yogg play. But honestly, leaving the Titan on the board is it's not too crazy, because the last ability he has is just deal 3 damage to all our minions, and that's not really a big deal for us here. Like, it's not really gonna do too much for him, and he still can attack. So I kind of, in the back of my head, I feel like I have at least one more turn of ignoring that Titan before I really have to deal with it, when it can just start attacking. So that's kind of why I decided to just, instead of potentially playing the 7 mana card here and looking for a Yogg or something like that that can immediately answer this board, it felt like we did have time to just kind of take things a bit slower. So I decided to just play the 5 regardless of him having that weapon there, and just trade there, heal up, and play the new heights as well. So next turn I can be on 11 mana, and I can have more mana to work with here. So he obviously has the weapon, but the downside is he has to trade into my minions, and he's still gonna have to take 3 damage by trading here. So I'm okay with this. So he plays the Murloc, so now this is where it's getting dicey for us. This is where we kind of do need an answer, or we're just gonna straight up die here. So he goes for the trade here. I'm not sure why he got rid of the 1/1. He probably just wanted to make board space so he can play something else. And yeah, he wanted to play that Zilliax, so that's why he made the board space. And he gets to push a good bit of damage phase here. So he got to draw 3 overload cards here. And we're now at 26 HP. But the biggest issue we're facing is if we don't deal with that board, we're about to die here. And he mixed a good play here. So he had 6 damage on the weapon here. He got buffed up. He trades once, but he decides to hold that last bit of that last swing on the weapon, which honestly is very smart from him. Honestly, he might have benefited from holding both swings, but he ends up holding one here. So at this point, I'm just trying to hit Yogg, and I'm not trying to hit anything else. I just need to draw Yogg. So I decided to go for the refresh mana crystals play. And I decided to go for the 3 mana here, and we get Yogg, and we get it for free as well, just to make things even better. We get it at 0 mana. This is what saved the game for us. If we didn't draw Yogg here, it was gonna be GG's, and we're obviously gonna go for forcing them to attack each other here. And yeah, we could get a bit unlucky where some stuff survives, but I think we did get a bit unlucky. We got the biggest minion surviving there in the Murloc, and Yogg does Yogg things and it kills itself. But you know what, the Yogg did enough for us here. I ended up going for drawing a spell here, because basically I was hoping for the swipe, to be honest, but it still wasn't gonna be enough. I played the Trog here in hopes that he would clear the Murloc, but we do get slightly unlucky with it surviving with 1 HP. But we're still in a very okay spot here. He only has an 8/1 on board here. And a 3-mana weapon, so he only has 12 attack, but he starts buffing his card, and this is where I started to sweat a bit. I was like, wait, how many of these does he have? And he just kept buffing it more and more and more here, and he now has 6 attack and 14. So at this one, he's at 20 attack here. So we managed to survive with only 6 HP at this stage. I'm not sure if he's gonna. I'm not sure if he's gonna swing the weapon or not. He might be saving it, and he does choose to save it, which fair enough. That's a smart play for him. And at this stage, I'm trying to see just how we can get lethal. And the best way for us to probably get lethal here is to top deck one of our drakes here, because we can play both drakes and get +2 spell damage, and then immediately just kill him. So that's the play that we're gonna go for here. We're just gonna go for. We might go for the Titan as well. Like, we're probably just gonna play the Titan, refresh our mana crystals, then go into the 7 mana play. Because even if we die, even if we don't top deck the Drake and we don't top deck into lethal. Oh, okay. I thought, okay, this is, I kind of don't remember making this play. I thought we just immediately went for the Drakes here, but looks like we just decided to heal our hero here, which honestly, it's the safer play. It guarantees us another turn, and it also guarantees us it allows us to have more mana for the next turn, and it also allows us to have even more chances of drawing that Drake, because we're going to be able to draw a card next turn, and then we can just go for that then we can go for the 7 mana card and hopefully top deck that thing. Also, as an absolute desperation play, we do have the Fire Lord that we can just kind of plop down there, and if all goes well, he could just hit face here, but he decides to trade with the weapon, and it makes sense why he goes for that. But unfortunately for him, we had to swipe here, and we were only a couple of damage away here, and that trade kind of gave us the damage we needed. So another incredible win here, climbing up all the way to silver 1 here. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like if you did, and subscribe to see more gameplay. Peace.